Colleagues, in January, it was announced that a record 24,454 suspected cases of elder financial abuse were reported to the Treasury Department last year. This was more than double the amount 5 years earlier, according to government data. Excuse me. With a growing elderly population, California needs an assist in protecting its seniors. Banks are already mandated reporters. Broker-dealers and investment advisors should participate as well. This is the purpose of Senate Bill 496. 496 implements the North American Securities Administrators Association's recommendations, which has already been adopted in some form by 19 states. I appreciate the review of the committee staff and respectfully request an aye vote.
This is in support of this measure.
I believe we do.
Seeing none coming forward, we have witnesses in opposition. Seeing none. You got any tweeners? You got some tweeners? All right, okay.
I can be a tweener. May I?
Yes, you may.
Good afternoon, Joanne Betancourt, representing the Securities Industry and Financial Markets Association, also known as SIFMA. We have a support if amended position on the bill. And if I may, Mr. Chair, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank Senator Morlock, his staff, and your committee consultant for all their hard work on this very important bill. I don't want to repeat anything that Senator Morlock has said. I think we just can say that we agree. Securities industry is willingly coming to the table to say, yes, we want to be mandated reporters, because we think it's the right thing to do. SIFMA has worked on over 20 report and hold proposals with state legislators, federal and state regulators, and we're being very proactive and not reactive. I'd like to take the time to address the committee analysis regarding our proposed amendments. It's not our intent to hold up the bill or cause any type of opposition. Our intent has always been to increase investor protection. In an effort to move forward, SIFMA, with one exception, would like to withdraw their requests for amendments. The one exception is very important, though. On page 10, lines 6 through 12, it deals with a mandated reporter's notifications via a trusted contact person. The committee analysis rightly points out that this is a standard practice in the securities industry, which is also consistent with the rules of the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, otherwise known as FINRA. While this is true, as drafted, Senate Bill 496 only addresses reaching out for financial exploitation. It may be interpreted as limiting the other instances in which a FINRA trusted contact can be used. Our proposed amendment would also clarify that we can comply with specific obligations under Gramm-Leach-Bliley and the Securities and Exchange Commission regulations. While I'm sure this is not the intent of the senator, it does need to be clarified. My hope, and I think we will get there, that we can support the bill, and with that, I thank you.
Any other tweeners there? Bringing it back to the committee, is there any questions? Senator Caballero.
I do have a question. I appreciate what you're doing here. This is a really important area. As we have a aging population, we're going to need more oversight to help to manage their money in a way, and to have mandatory reporters, I think, is really great. The concern I had was in terms of the report being made, that there may be an irregularity and somebody needs to take a look at. There may be abuse going on. The elder or the dependent adult may not have any recourse after delay of the transaction is made. They would have to let the process play itself out, which means that they may have to wait 15 days. And I'm just concerned about situations where there is no abuse and the individual is got something they're going to use the money for and then can't use it. And I was wondering if you had, it looks to me like a determination by the mandated reporter that the transaction will not result in financial abuse may take that 15 days. And so what happens in the meantime? Is there any way to kind of overcome that positively by the elder that's being reported on? Or their money is being reported on?
That's a great question, Senator Caballero, and I don't have a precise answer other than in certain instances, elderly individuals will have recognized adult children that are participating either through a power of attorney or conservatorship or some other form of guardianship. But I would think that you would contact them to make sure that the transaction is legitimate. We're trying to prevent instances where early signs of dementia, they start doing all kinds of unique things. And so the pushback we've gotten is that maybe 15 days is too short. So, but I can get back to you on a more precise answer, and I apologize.
You know, and it's fine. I just wanted to kind of raise it as a red flag. Having gone through this, this exact scenario that you talk about where the individual, my father, who was in charge of the finances, started making decisions that didn't look in the best interest, we were able to catch that as we were looking through the bank statements. And, but there may not be adult children that are watching, and there may not be that kind of oversight for a period of time. And I just want to make sure that we're not taking the right away from the elderly individual to make their own choices. And so maybe an advisement with the backstop of other family members coming in, you could narrow the time. Since I didn't see anything in here, I just thought we may want to think about it a little bit. We ended up in some very odd instances where we couldn't look at things expeditiously because once my father passed, I had to take my mother down, who has Alzheimer's, and stand in line for hours to get things done at the bank. And it was the most ridiculous set of circumstances, even though I had the power of attorney, I had the trust documents, all that kind of stuff. If we put too many obstacles on the banks, then in the end, their attorneys will say, no, you're going to have to go get a court order, which I was not willing to do when I had all the paperwork. So I'm very sensitive to this kind of thing, and I really appreciate what you're trying to do. I think it's the right thing.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chair, if I may, during that time, there was an investigation going on, and why this bill is also so important because it talks about who can be contacted and in what type of circumstance, too. So I think it's a clarification that needs to be made. So.
Okay.
I want to establish a quorum, so we have a quorum here. So, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Bradford?
Here.
Bradford here. Chang?
Here.
Caballero?
Here.
Caballero here. Durazo? Here. Durazo here. Hueso? Morel? Portantino?
Okay, quorum is present. I want to thank you for this measure. It's one of great importance, and I appreciate you working with the committee to iron out some of those challenges and also address the concerns that were mentioned by the tweener here. So also, I have a personal friend who's going to some issues right now with their senior mother and having accounts closed because of suspicious activity. So it's greatly important that we look after our most precious resource, and that's our parents and our elderly folks who have come before us. So on that note, Senator Morlock, would you like to close?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I did avoid personal stories and anecdotal stories because they're tough. And so all we're saying is we got to work together as a team because there's some of the things are so subtle and you don't see it happening when it's happening. And then when you finally realize what's going on, it could be too late. And so this is a tool to help advisors that are working with, sophisticated people that things could change. So I respectfully ask and I vote. Thank you.
You will be taking amendments in judiciary, am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. So we do have a due pass recommendation with amendments to be taken in judiciary. Can we get a motion on this bill? It's been moved. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Motion is due pass with amendments to be taken in judiciary. Senator Bradford?
Aye.
Bradford, aye. Chang? Aye. Chang, aye. Caballero? Caballero, aye. Durazo? Aye. Durazo, aye. Hueso? Aye. Wesso, aye. Morel, Portantino. 5.
That measures out. We'll leave the roll open for those absent members to be added on. Thank you.